She stood there, frozen, her hands trembling as she held the cheap old phone to her ear. The long corridor of the luxurious office fell silent. The click of her heels had just stopped when the call came. And now, in front of the CEO himself, she whispered in Russian, unaware of the stares, unaware that this very moment would change her life forever. The girl's name was Alina. Only 22, she was a receptionist at a prestigious corporate office in the city, far from the dusty village she once called home. Her baby, Artyom, was barely a year old. She never told anyone at work about him. She feared they would see her as weak. A single mother. A poor girl from the provinces. A burden. She had worked hard to blend in, dressing in the simplest version of corporate formality, always polite, always quiet. But that morning, her son had been sick, burning up with fever. She had left him with her aging neighbor, promising she would rush back after her shift. Then came the call. In Russian. Desperate. Alina. Он дышит очень тяжело. Его губы синие. Her neighbor was panicking. Alina's eyes widened. Her voice cracked. She didn't care that the CEO was walking past at that very moment. She didn't notice the conference room go silent. All she could say was, «Боже, пожалуйста, вызовите скорую. Я сейчас приеду», before hanging up. The CEO had stopped. A stern man in his 60s, always impeccably dressed, known for his cold precision. He had glanced at her, eyebrows raised. She had whispered an apology and ran. She didn't even go back for her bag. That night, in the small clinic near her apartment, Alina sat beside her baby's bed, tubes, machines, a doctor who kept frowning. The hospital refused to admit him for proper care. She didn't have the money. Public insurance barely covered anything. She was shaking when she handed over the last of her earnings. It still wasn't enough. "Bring the rest tomorrow," the nurse said, "or we'll have to discharge him." She didn't sleep that night. The next morning, Alina returned to the office, expecting a termination letter. Her hair was a mess, eyes swollen from crying, and clothes still smelling faintly of disinfectant. She had written a letter of resignation on the bus, fearing she had embarrassed the company. But something strange happened. As she entered, the receptionist smiled and handed her a note. "CEO's office, right now." Her legs were shaking as she stepped inside. He was sitting there, calm, silent. Then he looked up at her and simply said, "Sit down." Alina sat. He didn't ask about her being late. He didn't mention the phone call. Instead, he pulled out a photo. A young boy, maybe 10, with bright eyes. "My son died of pneumonia when he was 5, because I was in a meeting. Thought it could wait." Alina felt her heart sink. The CEO leaned forward. "Yesterday, you reminded me that some calls cannot wait." She blinked, not understanding. "I spoke to HR. Your salary is tripled effective immediately. You'll also receive a company health allowance for your child. And we're transferring your son to a private clinic today. My driver is already on the way." Alina gasped. The CEO stood up. "I don't usually do this, but sometimes life reminds us to care." Tears rolled down Alina's cheeks. She couldn't speak. She just nodded, over and over. By evening, her baby was in a clean hospital room with the best doctors, stable, breathing on his own. Days later, when she brought Artyom home, a small gift was waiting at her door. A soft blue blanket. No card, just a note. Some moments define who we are. Keep answering the important calls. Alina never forgot that moment. Not the pain, not the fear, but most importantly, not the unexpected kindness that came when she needed it most. And every time her phone rang after that, no matter where she was, she always answered. Because she had learned, in a world full of noise, sometimes one small voice needs to be heard most of all.